What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of The Break Room. This week, we got a really cool video because we're finally going to put the RFW series to the test. If you guys don't know what the RFW series are, they are our ratcheting flare wrenches. Been a lot of questions and a lot of comments about these, so today we're going to see what they can do. You guys, check it out. Hey guys, real quick, spoiler alert. We did not have a tool failure in this video. I know we promised that, but we did not reach the failure point of the tool. You can continue watching the video to see how the tool performed. It did extremely well, and it did way above the ANSI specs of what a flare wrench could do, but we did not take it to failure, and that's what we promised in this video. Unfortunately, due to the time constraints of shooting, editing, and uploading a video to have it to you by 5 p.m., that's not going to happen today. If you want to watch the rest of the video to see how the tool performed, feel free, but there will be a part 2 where we do take this to failure. We just wanted to let you know up front. Alright guys, as mentioned in the intro, today we're going to be taking a look at all 3 sets of our RFW, which is our ratcheting flare wrenches. There's been a lot of comments, a lot of questions, and a little bit of controversy about people judging them before they even try them. So today, we're going to put that to the test and just see what these can do before failure and see what they do in a real life situation. And that way we'll know what the numbers are. So before we dive into that, I want to go over the 3 sets that we offer and the sizes, because there's a misconception here. A lot of people see these and think they're only for metric sizes. But what's cool about these is they work on standard and metric. So if we take a look here at the 16 millimeter, you can see it's a 16 on one side. You flip it over and the size indication is a 5/8. So it'll work in standard or metric. Same thing through many of the other sizes. Today we're specifically going to be looking at the 13, which is the 1/2 inch equivalent, and the 16, which is the 5/8 equivalent, because there's been some testing on these and we kind of know what the data numbers are on those 2 sizes from various channels that have put these through their paces already. So as some of you guys know, and some of you guys may not know, flare nuts are kind of a thing of their own. Obviously, the material that's used to make the fasteners is often a soft metal, and it's kind of hard to gauge when the tool starts slipping unless you do some elaborate testing. There's some channels that have done this testing and they've conducted those in inch pounds, and we're going to convert those numbers to foot pounds for this video just to make it a little bit easier. So in one of the videos that I'm referencing, there was a 1/2 inch flare nut wrench that went to 915 inch pounds, which is roughly 76 foot pounds. And that was the top leader in that category. So in that same video, a 5/8 flare nut wrench was tested to 1305 inch pounds, which is roughly 108 foot pounds. So that kind of gives us some baseline numbers. So there's been a lot of misconceptions when people look at these and they think they are a cheap made, cheap quality. They're not going to work. They're going to break very easily. And we know for a fact that that is definitely not true, because we have done tests on these ourselves through an independent lab, and they actually went through a rigorous test. You guys can do a little research and find what the ANSI rating is on a flare nut wrench or a flare nut fastener, and it is extremely, extremely low. It's really not even applicable in the world that we live in, because guys are going to tighten it up and things get tighter over time. And it is what it is. But we're going to test these to failure today, and that way we will know. The reason why we know these will hold up is we have never had one of these come back under warranty. And also in the test that we conducted, the 13 millimeter, which is right here, was put to 299.95 inch pounds over 20,001 cycles. That's only 24.95 foot pounds, but this was tested over 20,000 times and was still perfectly functional at the end of it. So we know these are built to last. So a lot of you guys still may be skeptical after hearing the numbers, because our 5/8 or 16 millimeter was tested at 564.51 inch pounds 20,001 cycles. That's 47.04 foot-pounds. But we know that these products will hold up and they will last you a very long time. So if you're kind of skeptical, I'll show you a little thing that we did. Recently, I was invited to go to a tool show. We kind of set up a little demo with some of the dealers just to show, because a lot of them have the same reaction as you guys. When they look at them, they don't want to give them a chance. So if you're on your tool truck, grab you a 19 millimeter, throw you a 1/2 inch breaker bar or 1/2 inch ratchet on there, and then grab you another 1/2 inch ratchet. Hand your buddy one of those, and you grab a 19 out of the set. You stick it on there, which we'll discuss how it works with the opening and closing because it's really cool. But stick it on there, close it off. You grab the other end, put it in there, and put out on it. And I think you will be surprised at how strong that these actually are, because you're going to pull each other all over the truck. And for you tool dealers that stock these on your truck, be sure to set up a little demo, and that way guys can see. Because if you just look at it, it does look kind of funny because it is something new and kind of unorthodox looking, but they perform extremely well. So I mentioned how this works with the auto closing system. If you'll notice, when you open this up, you will see a small indentation sticking out on the inside of these flare nut wrenches. When you put it on your fastener, that will bump that, and automatically it will close the fastener around it. If you'll notice, there's an overlap portion, and that gives it extreme strength, and it will not open or kind of balloon out, spread apart, however you want to call it, because of the way it overlaps. The self-ratcheting mechanism that's in here will allow it to ratchet in tight access areas and allow you to break fasteners free or tighten fasteners as you go. So just play around with these. If you have a tool truck, grab you a hex head, grab one of the sizes that corresponds with it, and just try it, and you'll see for yourself, working with a hex bit, how cool these things really are. So the sets that are offered come in 3 different sets, as I said earlier. We have the RFW 100, which is all 3/8 drive. It goes from a 6 to a 14 millimeter, and it only skips the 9. So it's a 6-piece set, as you see here. All of these sets do come in the foam. The next set is the RFW 150. It has a 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19. So it's a 5-piece set, no skips, also in foam, 3/8 drive. And we have our large set, which is the RFW 200. It is a 1/2 inch drive. It comes with a 22, 24, 27, 30, and 32 millimeter. So as I mentioned previously in the video, we know what these will do compared to ANSI, and we know that the cycles will run out over 20,000 times with no damage to the tool itself. But we do not know what the breakage is on them. So today we are going to put that to the test and see where these fail. I did mention we would be testing the 13 and the 16 millimeter because the test that we've seen was with a 1/2 and a 5/8. Both of these are the same. So we're going to go over here. We're going to put this thing in a meter. We have no clue how this is going to turn out. Obviously, when you're using a line wrench, most of the time it slips on the fastener just because the materials that are made, the fasteners are made of, is a softer material, or you see the spreading of the head. If you do a quick search on Google, you'll see different tests, and all of this has been proven, and there's tons of data and numbers there. That's not what we're here for. We want to know the failure point of these tools, if we can push it to the limit. You know, when setting up these tests, we kind of have to try to make it as close to real world application as we can. So we're going to be using bolts in this situation. You know, in real life, you're going to be using it on a brake line, transmission line, fuel line, AC line, that sort of stuff. Obviously, if you get it in a bad spot and things are super tight, something's going to strip, or you're going to twist the line off and have to replace the flare at that point anyway. So we're going to do our best to just see where the failure points are on these, push them to the limit, and that way you guys will know, and we'll also know. So let's get to it. All right, guys, we're over here at our meter, and what we're going to be doing to conduct this test, we've got 2 bolts that are welded into extensions. This one's got a 13 millimeter head on it. This one's got a 16 millimeter head on it. We've got our RFW in a 13, which also corresponds to a 1/2 inch. We've got our 16 millimeter that corresponds to a 5/8. And the way we're going to do it, we're going to put our extensions in here. We're going to be using our TH21 extendable ratchet handle. We're going to extend that out just so we can control the torque. And we've got the BB24A 1/2 inch breaker bar head on here. We're going to reduce that down to a 3/8. So we're going to put our 13 millimeter bolt into our meter. I'm going to turn our meter on, make sure it's zeroed out. Once we start applying torque, you'll see this number go up and it will flash and hold the peak torque. We're going to put our RFW on our extendable breaker bar attachment. We're going to put it on our bolt and we're slowly going to apply torque until we get to the maximum torque that it can take. And we broke the bolt head off at 49 foot-pounds. So we know it will do at least 49 foot-pounds without a problem. I was kind of surprised. I figured the bolt would have held more pressure than that. But we'll move to our 16 millimeter head and conduct the same test. So I got a 16 millimeter bolt in there. We're going to put our RFW on here. I'm going to start applying torque and just see what happens. And it broke our bolt off at 78 foot-pounds. So I'm definitely going to say that it's got something to do with where it's welded. As you guys can see here, it's probably the heat treatment on it. So we're going to have to redo this test to try to get to breakage and just see what it'll do. All right, guys, real quick, I want to show you there's absolutely no damage whatsoever to the tool. But check this, how it bites into the fastener. You can see it's just off the corner of it. The way it digs in and engages with the fastener head. This is the 16 millimeter here. This is the 13 millimeter here. Like I say, the tool never slipped. There's no damage at all to either one of them. It's kind of interesting to see because you definitely know this is harder than any flare nut fitting that you would find. And it's pretty cool to see the engagement that's on these. But it broke both of the bolts off, as you can see, clean breaks. So we're gonna have to come up with another way that we can test how strong these RFWs are. But as you guys know, that's gonna be way over ANSI specs for something like this. I mean, if it's strong enough to break the bolt, it's definitely going to break an air line, a brake line, a transmission line, or a fuel line. There's no doubt about it. But we still haven't answered the question of how much can it take before it breaks. So we will come up with another way to test this. I've got a pretty good idea what we can do to make this work, but we want to get to the failure point of the actual tool itself. So you guys stick around because we're redoing this one. We are going to find out what they'll do and what they'll break out. So like always, guys, thanks for tuning in. If you like this video, be sure to hit that thumbs up. click that subscribe button. I apologize that the bolts broke. We're going to reshoot it. We're going to come up with another way to show you how strong it is, because I'm not satisfied with these results. The numbers are great. They're definitely over what you would use a ratcheting flare nut wrench for, but we want to know what that number is of failure. So we will push it to that point and we will find out. If you like the video, hit that thumbs up and be sure to click that subscribe button, because you never know what you're going to see on this channel. You guys have a great one. We'll catch you next time.